Let's drop you down into this scenario. You got 6 grand in the bank and offer an AK armor and full utility. Or an AWP armor and flash. Well, you're the AWPer, so let's buy the AWP. Well, what is your job now? You need to have impact, and you do this by peeking mid for info and a kill. But it's smoked. What is your next option? Today I will break down how to actually play as an AWPer and give all of you a complete guide to AWPing. Enjoy your masterclass to AWPing today. The AWPing role has to be one of the most desired role in CS2 at the moment. I still remember searching for a team as an AWPer only to be told they already had one, since in one way you are the freest player on the team. When AWPing, you are trusted with the most expensive gun in the game that is used constantly in pro play, as well as when AWPing you can decide where to play yourself. The role is, as most roles explained in the name, you have the scoped death machine in your hands. Your goal for the round are to find early impact and clutching. That is usually when the AWP shines, and the AWP's ability to have a one-shot one-kill allows it to be very effective in clutches. But when it comes to team play, the AWP is more of an support player, where you need to set up your teammates for success, since this makes the job as an AWPer easier, as well as the team will set you up to have success. Economy is a key part in AWPing, since you need to know how to manage your economy to even be able to afford an AWP. How do the AWP impact the team's economy? Well, if you buy an AWP and armor, that would cost you $5,750. But by buying an AK armor and a Galil to a teammate, you'll be left with $250 or a flash and a decoy. And this might sound weird, but on low economy on the whole team, you are opting to keep an AWP and have a teammate with worse guns. So the AWP can change the round for better or worse, since the economy it takes to buy the AWP can ruin a round for a team. It's a reason Jame always saves the AWP. Better to keep that financial burden than to lose it trying to get a highlight like we are seeing Monacy and Shiro trying to do. Since just dying with the AWP will feel like you are hit by a financial crash and no way to recover. So understanding that the AWP does not only impact your economy, but the whole team's economy is key. There are many decisions to make when you have the AWP, and you need to master this. The decision you need to master can come early, mid and late game, and no matter what role you play, to make the correct decision is always important. So how can you as the AWPer do this? So decision making in AWPing boils down to some core aspects. Let's start with early game what decisions. Well, you start in a spawn. That's already when your first decision will come. If you get around, I think it's around this spawn, that's the best spawn you can get. You need to start thinking, what is my decision? What is my next move? Well, you have the best spawn. I want to run and I want to peek ramp. Well, that's a decision you just made. You shoot, you go for it. Well, what do you do now? Well, he jumped across. Maybe you want to go cheeky, peek here. You have to understand everything you almost do is decision making. And of course, these early round plays and spots to go for and places to go, it's easy ones to do. You do it every time. As the AWPer though, you need to kind of be a little bit more aware of other things. The first is for instance like this. If you as the AWPer get full mid control, right? And your team's oh, we're going to take B. You need to make a decision. Do you stay or do you go? Well, as the AWPer, I would have sit like this and just waited. Right? Because you can hold off middle, your teammate can win B, and you have an easy way, right? Ask them to plant short. And you have an easy way to get back into the game. You need to make that decision. But, let's say your teammate goes, and they plant default. And they go, oh, we planted default. What do you do now? Well, because you're here now, well, you need to run. You need to make a decision fast. And your decision should then come here. And there are so many things that affect you here. You can make a tree of this. I might even do it. I'll have to see how long this video takes. But you can make a tree of how you would affect, right? How your things that will affect your decision. You know, which is XVX. Oh, it's a 2v2. Well, then you at AWPer could probably go for this. But if it is a 1v3 for you and you're low economy, well, maybe you save then actually. That's your decision, right? So there's a lot of things you have to think about. And the main things are XVX scenarios, economy, time, just if you have the lead. Map control is key, no matter what. So what does map control mean for you as an AWPer? Well, a key part of AWPing is to have impact. And by having map control, this becomes easier. So let's use Inferno as an example. You start the round in a 3-2 setup, 3 players A and 2 on B. You as the AWPer goes for bottom mid control like this, and you are able to win the 1v1 duel versus the AWPer. And now you have full mid control in a 5v4. As well as your 2 other A players can take apps. And just like that, the mid control you have gotten has allowed your team to take full A and mid control. Now you can see how this opens up for the AWPer to have impact. Since if something happened on B, it's an easy call to rotate, as well as you're boxing the enemy into a box and limiting their room and map control. Or in Mirage, if you win middle with the AWP, you can allow both A and B sides to have 2 players and quickly rotate over to both to help if needed. So map control does not only help your team, but it as well make your job as an AWPer much easier. So how can you get map control early to set yourself up for success? There are many ways to do so let's hop in game and I can show you. For you as the AWPer, spawn, setup, peaks and utility are like key to win map control. So let me show you how. If you have the best spawn possible, right? You will just be running here. Run. And because you have such a good spawn, right? You have to jump over this. You can peek and kill this guy jumping here. This kill just gave you guys short control completely. Right? Or you can peek under here, kill this guy here, now you have full this. This is how peeks can give you map control early on. I'm not saying it's the best because it's quite risky, but you can win a lot doing this. Then setups are more like how you can set up for kills and map control, right? So if you're an AWPer, let's say, you have a teammate up here. You as the AWPer want to take first contact, so you want to play up here. You take first contact, falls off, right? And you set up your teammate to win map control. That's how you use your AWP to set up. And this works on the T side as well. If you're on the T side, you can set up and hold like this, right? You hold off the whole left side of the map right here. For any peaks, they will start going here and start clearing here. That's how you win map control, setting up your teammate. Then of course utility, it's just a normal. You do a flash, you help people out. Because in the end, you as the AWPer, as I always say, you are more of a support player, right? So learn some of these. I will show you guys. Learn some of these, for instance, like these nades here, right? Just like to win here. Learn the fucking setups by going here, aiming here, and then run throwing, hitting this one, right? Learn stuff like that to win this. That's how you win map control as an AWPer. Rotations are key for AWPing, since as the AWPer you need to be where the enemy are. For this you need to master rotations. So what even is rotations? Well, that is how you move on the map. So how can you as an AWPer master this? Well, it all starts with where you play in the start of the game. If you start on an Inferno pit and B is rushed, as an AWPer you will likely have to save if it's a 3v5. And since you're so far away, it's hard to even try to rotate. So start by playing a better spot like long on A, since this allows you to rotate faster and it's a shorter distance to B site. And this is key, since if it's a fake, it's easier for you as an AWPer to just go back and hold long again. But how do you rotate? Well, you need some key information to rotate properly. The first is map control. If you have full A control, it's easy to rotate to B and hold it down for your team. The second is the information your team will give you. If you can see one player die and call 3B, as the AWPer, you will rotate on this. But if the B players get banana control and can call that banana is cleared, you as an AWPer can just stay back. Even if one dies and nobody pushes him, because you have the information now. As an AWPer, you need to rotate to allow yourself to have as much impact as possible. Since when AWPing, you can pick where to play from for this reason, to have impact. And let's say you thought it would be a B rush on Mirage, but B is quiet and it's an A execute. As an AWPer, you need to be able to rotate as fast as possible to help with this. Counter-Strike 2 has killed the AWP meta that we had in CSGO. Some months ago I made this breakdown around this, but has it? Cyber is still hard carrying with the AWP, but the AWP meta we had in CSGO are over indeed. Since now with fewer rounds, the AWP's impact has gotten much lower. Since there are fewer rounds to buy the AWP, as well as today in Counter-Strike 2, rifles has gotten better. I can't remember the last time we had 2 riflers in the top 20, top 3, and not 2 AWPers. Since peeking has gotten much stronger, while holding an angle has been much weaker, the number one way an AWPer plays. And we are even seeing teams like Cloud9 and Percy use a team comp of no AWPers to rather have a hybrid AWP and focus on riflers instead. But the AWP is still strong, with a one-shot kill and the same map layout, so even though it has gotten a downgrade, it's still not as weak as people want it to be. The AWP can still carry, and we're seeing that with Saivu, Monacy and Shiro do this in Counter-Strike 2, as well as the teams that are without an AWPer will soon understand how bad this could be for the team. In the future I will have a video about this after the major to look over these teams to understand if no AWP is good or not. Subscribe if you want a video like that. Many AWPers do not buy utility or don't know how to use them and why. Since as the AWPer, what separates good AWPers from great ones are not highlights or rating, but rather the support aspect of the AWPer, like utility. As I said earlier in the video, utility makes the job for you as an AWPer easier. Let's quickly explain how to use different utility as an AWPer to help you and your teammates. Flashes allows you to remove a player from an angle so you can take it. Like Banana, if an AWPer holds from CT, you can flash this to quickly force him off the angle and take it back. So he now needs to peek into you. There is this amazing clip between Halzerk and Simple, and you can see how strong a flash is and how an AWPer can use this.
Op duel, queued up, he's looking the right way. Simple has to give up his angle, and if he re-peeks, he should be a dead man. However, what goes around comes around, and it's Simple's angle again.
Yeah, it's just getting the rook on the open file here, and they are honestly trading for space and respecting the flashes.
And another one.
And I mean, yeah, respecting it again.
Who has more flashbang?
Molotovs are used to remove a player from a spot completely. Let's say you're playing overpass. You can use a Molotov to remove the player in divider to force him to peek you, or a teammate. Since a flash would allow this player to stay here, while a Molotov forces the player to actually leave the spot. So use Molotovs like this and then peek into the player that is forced away from the spot to win you map control. Smokes allows you to make a wall and help you take map control. Let's say we're playing Mirage and you need to take middle. Well, by using this smoke, you have no need to hold window since it's smoked. So you as the AWPer will only need to focus on short and con, and this makes it much easier for you to win map control, challenge for map control and more. But utility can be used to unlock your team as well. As the AWPer, you're not a one-man army. And to make sure your team can be better, you need to know how to smoke, flash and Molotov all the default angles, and join my Discord for all of these lineups. But let's give you a scenario. As the AWP, instead of trying to entry from ramp, rather set up this flash and this smoke paired with a Molotov to help your two teammates in ramp the entry and second entry out so you can move to A site, and all you need to do when going out is to hold CT. I've been talking a lot about impact, and impact is key. When you have the best gun in the game, you need to be impactful. But there are many ways as an AWPer you can have impact. First is just surviving. If you can stay alive, you will have impact on your team's economy in a positive way. As well as the AWP has this amazing thing called a one shot, one kill. Meaning you can play some very odd angles and get free kills and fall off rather quick. And here we can go into some amazing ways to do this. So let's hop in game and I can show you guys how you can have this impact in weird angles. Alright, so since the AWP is very strong and give you the one shot, one kill, impact can really skyrocket in this position. I will show you why. So let's say you get a good spawn, you can play here, and this is like usually a bad angle because you're so close to people and it's not just ideal, let's just put it like that. But since you have the one shot, one kill, you just aim here. If he comes here, walks out, you will kill him. If he comes close, you will kill him, shoot. How do you trade that as a T, right? Because let's say you're the T side, right? And your teammate behind here died. He peeks out, dead. Well, you are here. You need to run. Up, run, run, run. Alright, I got him. You're open for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Top 7 position. You can even 8, 9, 10. You know, 11, 12, 13. Like, you're so open. How can you like deal with this? And that's how impactful you as an AWPer can be, just in this weird position. And these are on every single spot on the map, basically. Good spawn here, right? You Molotov deep, you go in, you aim, you go, shoot. You get behind here. If you have good movement, you can get here. How did he trade that? That's how you can have impact in these weird angles and off positions. The next thing to understand is how untradeable you are as the AWPer. Let's say you're playing CT on Inferno, and here you get a kill. All you need to do is to move back, and the Ts can't trade you back effectively. Since this would force them to peek into the open, and just this is a massive boost for your impact you can have. Since this concept can apply to many crazy plays, like a fast Inferno apps push, we saw Nifty do, kill a player in second mid and fall off, this is how some of the best AWPers and most aggressive ones finds impact on the CT side and T side. But you can do the same on the T side. By going for crazy pushes like the legendary Saivu banana push he did against Ents, look how hard it is to trade him. So as the AWPer, to have impact, staying alive can be enough, but if you want to get some kills and win rounds, then start by learning these position, plays and more ways to make the AWP an impactful killing machine. Peeking is a topic we can talk about for hours, but I made a whole video about it a year ago, so it's probably pretty shite. And for the quality I make today, it's probably bad. But I have a lot of knowledge packed into one video, check it out. But I wanted to just quickly visit this topic. As the AWPer, you are less limited to peeks you can do, since you always will have the option for a one shot, one kill, whoever you are peeking. But let's start with what even is peeking. Peeking is the way you look around a corner from cover. No idea how to even explain the word better than that? I know I'm a failure, and there are many ways of peeking, like shoulder peeking, wide peeking, crouch peeking and more. US AWPers should only focus on these type of peeks. Wide swings allows you to mess up the enemy crosshair placement to throw them off so you have an easier fight. As well as this type of peeking are way better to do versus AWPers on the enemy team, to utilize how AWPers are playing and holding for shoulder peeks and regular peeks and not wide peeks. Here's a video of me failing on this.
Ja, men jeg piker ikke helt med en mid-peak og kun liksom der de svinger forbi.
40 seconds.
Crouch peeking is something I love. If you ever seen some of my streams that, you know, they come here and there, I'm not a streamer. And this can be good, these type of peeks. There are angles US AWPer can't wide swing to deal with a player. But let's say this player has no. He will be looking here, so how do you win this fight? Well, by crouch peeking. A crouch peek is done by just peeking out normally, but crouching as soon as you're open to the angle when you move out. And this will make you duck under the crosshair, and these are done to mess up the crosshair placement of the enemy and give you some time to maybe win the fight against them. There are spots on every map you need to know how to peek as the AWPer perfectly. And to do that you need to know how to pre-aim and pre-fire. But these peeks takes the hardest to learn. The goal are for you to be able to aim where the enemy will be before even peeking out. This will give you a good shot at winning the duel, since you do not need to adjust your crosshair to win the fight, but the downside are how weak these peeks are for off angles. Talking about off angles, let's talk about angles. Angles are hard to even explain in short terms for a guide, but let's try. This is an angle, so is this, and even this. An angle is a spot you play from, but it's not that simple, I guess. There are different type of angles, like off angles, which are angles next to an angle that is more common. Like this on overpass. Instead of holding from toxic, you can play above it, so the T-swing you will focus on your legs, and you have the upper hand here. But you as the AWPer, well, you need to know some stuff about angles. First is how to clear them properly. And for this, use a pre-fire map. They will learn you where the most common ones are. But something most AWPer forget are the distance from an angle will affect how effective you can be. If you play close to this angle, you can't see anything here. While if I am further away from the angle, I can see you. So try to be as far away from an angle before peeking into someone. A lot of AWPers still think it's a solo show when they get the big green in hand. But I want to rather go and learn you all how to be a good teammate and win more games this way. And most people want to improve, and for that you need to play with your team and for them to help you. Let's start with the basics of playing with your team. US AWPer can be used as a smoke almost. Let me explain. When going out on Mirage B site, US AWPer has no need to join the site take and can rather stay in apps and hold window for the peek or behind for the lurker. Or when entering out, US AWPer can lock down one spot while your team clears the rest. Just how a smoke would do. As well as when playing with a team, you need to understand how little useful US AWPer are in some scenarios. Like on a site execute, you are not really that needed to run out with the riflers, so rather focus your time and effort on utility, holding for flanks and setting up your teammates. How can you set them up? Well, first are utilities like pop flashes, molotovs and smokes to make sure your team feels safe when entering out. But you can as well do this by holding down a position or an angle to make sure your team do not have to worry about that. But the team can set you up for success as well. Back when Alex used IGL for Vitality, he made a joke about how easy it was for Saivu, since all him and the rest of Vitality were doing for him was setting him up for success. But how? Well, they're able to do this by putting the AWPer in impactful positions, then using utility and information seeking to allow the AWP to just have impact. If the AWP will peek middle of Mirage window, well, the team will have one player on short, seeing if anyone crosses here, one flashing like this to blind any players peeking out mid early, as well as this player peeking from con. So if we go bird's eye view, whoop, these red circles are what the team watches over, and the blue one is what the AWP sees. So the AWP only need to focus this little room and can focus all of his impact there. And the last is spacing and pathing. These goes hand in hand, where you need to understand how far away the spacing between you and your teammates should be. You do not want to be too close, since then you line up, blocks each other, and sets up for an easy spray transfer. But you can't be too far apart, since an AWPer can then get a kill and fall off, and you can't trade. Wait, that's your blueprint. Be close enough so you can trade an AWPer, if an AWP where to peek, since being too far apart will not allow you this. And too close will set up for a double kill. Talking about this, let me show you guys a game. I played on Overpass where this happened. 2 showings of bad spacing back to back, where the first 2 were too close, gave me 2 free kills, and the long player were not close enough to trade me in the end. Pathing is how you as the AWPer have to move out in the execute. And for the AWP, focus on distance and what your team will hold for you. Let's use Overpass for this. When padding from long, when going out from long, you should focus on car and trash. But if you have 2 teammates out on site already that are clearing this, you as the AWPer can change strategy and rather go to bank. The goal when the AWPer is running out is to clear for his teammate what they will not be holding and focus on long range fights or just holding down something for them. T-side AWPing and CT-side AWPing is vastly different, but some might not think so. So let's make my case and why you should approach these sites differently when AWPing. On the CT side, early game is key, and it's why we are seeing on Inferno early peaks in apps, mid and banana. Since for the CT it's all about early information and map control, while on the T side, for the AWPer at the end game is rather more important, and why we see AWPers pick a spot and just stay there until the execute starts. That's when they come alive. But there are key skills you need to master on both sides. And we have already mentioned them, but I will tell you what you need to focus on both sides. For the CT side, you need to master the whole concept of rotation, map control and angles. Since you need to be everywhere on the map, angles are good to know for the CT AWPers to have an advantage when someone peeks you. While on the T side, you need to master peeking and patting. As the T side AWPer, you need to always peek into an angle and winning these fights constantly. As well as the movement and how you move around your teammate are key on the T side to have impact and be allowed to have better peaks. As the AWPer, one of the key aspects of the role are how to actually position yourself. And here I do not want to go into a lot of theory of how to do this because there are many ways to do so. But let's rather hop in game and I can show you how to position yourself properly. Alright, we're talking positioning. So I want to show you 2 ways you can position to hold CT. Right? And you're gonna try to understand what is the best and what is the worst one. The first is this one right there. You will be crouched behind this box, aiming here, so you have time to react. If they like shoulder peek, you have this. If the wide peek, you have this. And if just peek into, that's a kill. The second way to position yourself to hold this is to hold here. Aim, shoot. Which one is the best? Well, if you have a teammate here, and maybe even a teammate here, this isn't a bad position. It's a very good off angle. They will peek for this kill right here, and you will kill them. If you're alone, this doesn't happen. If you're alone, this is the better position, because now you don't have to worry about this. That's what positioning is about when you AWP. It's all about how you play around what is happening, right? So, if you're only gonna hold, then this is perfect. But, another way is that if you have a bad spawn and you still want to peek the guy in window, right? You want to jump up on this. I will show you why. Jump, shoot. And you kill him. Why? Because this guy, he's ready for you to position yourself here. Meaning when you jump up and you end up here, he leg shot you, you kill him, you win that. So that's like all positioning is about. It's all about like being at the, like, you need to understand, I used to tell this when I used to coach people. I used to tell people, you need to know the ins on the site and the outs. For you as a CT late game, ins, and ins, these 3 positions are ins on the site. This is where the T's will come from. While for the CT, the way you get out is this and this. And that's a very good thing to like remember and learn. Position yourself close to them. So if you want to play here, right, you need to make sure somebody's covering this for you. Con. And then you can focus on this and this. And if you get pushed, well, you have very easy time to just fall off. So that's like the essence of positioning. While on the T side, it's all about positioning yourself up for the enemies to peek into you. So for instance, if they love pushing apps, this is a very good position. They walk into you, free kill. Well, if you have the best spawn possible, right? You can jump, you can do this, aim, wait for them, peek into you, right? So that's like the essence of positioning. Map knowledge is one of the key aspects in all roles in CS. But map knowledge is more than knowing the name of the map and some callouts. So let's dig deeper to show you all what I mean. You need to understand timings. No matter what peak you want to go for, you need to have an understanding of where an enemy can be and will meet you. So with this spawn, can you peek water from A main in Anubis? Well, let's see. No, you can't. And here to calculate this, always imagine the enemy has the best spawn possible. This will allow you to be more prepared when going for the fight. And this will help you to use your spawn properly when you have the best spawn possible for a peak. You will now know where the enemy will meet you with the best spawn. Then you should know where you even need to peek to have impact. If I say take middle and we are playing Inferno, well, if you peek like this in the open, you're dead. But here you can rather peek like this from the corner to kill the player jumping and crossing bottom mid from ramp. So understanding how these 2 peaks are different can affect you in the way you peek, and that's a key part of the role. Then you need to understand where the enemy can be. And this is all about understanding defaults and strats on the map you play. If you do not see anyone in mid on overpass, your mind should go straight to playground. If you are here, since that is where you can now be peeked from. Or if you were here when you peek and no one is there, your mind should go straight to corner B. And this needs to happen fast in your mind. My best advice is to try to think like T-side. If we give up long and mid on overpass, what can we take back to compensate for this? Movement is key, and in general you do not need good movement, but you need good enough movement to do what you want. So I'll hop in game and show you all what I mean and why US AWPers should take this part seriously. This is what a lot of people think movement is when it comes to AWPing. Doing these like crazy jumps, it actually takes quite some time to learn. But that is not really my idea when it comes to movement and AWPing. Because for me it's all about how you move. Let's say you want to do the window peek, right? You should always be able to have like consistently able to jump up here, get up here, aim, shoot, kill, right? You should always be able to do like the things you want to do. So if it is to do the window jump, then do it. But if you want to rather just jump down, get up here quickly and aim, shoot, move, that as well. You should be able to just be comfortable enough so you can do the plays you want to do. A very good example of this. It's not like an easy jump, but it's not a bad jump either. It's to jump from here to here. It's a very like a fun thing you can do. Let's say you get one kill, get one here. You jump across, get here. And you can just hide, aim out, go there. Just should be able to do like all of these. Like just getting up here is a key part in AWPing and movement, but it's not a hard move, but you should know them. And that's like my idea of movement, I guess. Just be able to do what you want to do. Have you ever been in the scenario where you're being pushed and you need to make a decision of using the AWP or the pistol? Well, when do you stick with the AWP and when do you stick with the pistol? There are some rules here, so let's break it down. First of all, you need to know how much time it takes between each shot you shoot with the AWP. So let's quickly show you. There you go. And now we can answer the question. Since the AWP has a delay, if you think you might be pushed in a close fight after shooting with the AWP, it's almost best to change to your pistol after and try to get some kills. A perfect example of this is Monacy vs Astralis on Inferno. After he gets some kills with the AWP, he switches to the Deagle, since he knows that if he stays with the AWP and this close, he will only be able to get one attempt at a good kill before being traded. Well, if you want to stay with the AWP, you need some stuff to make it work. First, it should be a long range fight, since this gives you more options to use the AWP. As well as you should be able to know where the enemy will be peeking you from and where they are. Like backside on B, Mirage. If you get the information that both players jumps down from apps to car, you can stay with the AWP and try to get some kills. But if both jumps and pushes the site, you might have to change to your pistol to stay alive. Well, let's now quickly mention predictability and why this is so important for the AWPer to be good at. Predictability is how easy you are to read for the enemy, and here we can make a whole guide about this, every single role, but let's try to boil it down. If you always play one spot while the enemy will catch on and kill you constantly, then you are predictable. While if you keep switching angles, doing different plays and rotating differently, well now you're unpredictable. And that is what makes an AWPer so deadly. A good rule of thumb is to have 3 to 4 spots on each site, and even in mid, and then you randomize them on the CT and T side, so the enemy will never be able to know where you can play from, how you are playing, and will have to clear everything to find you. I saw a guide by Wilson CS2 when I did some research about this topic. Check him out, he makes way better videos than me when it comes to guides. And he had this fun part that is very important, but no other guides really talked about it. And I wanted to add this to my guide, and this is how to counter AWPer's counters, meaning to play around the enemy trying to play around you. I know it's a tongue twister. Utility is the first, and here you need to understand that there are 2 pieces of utility that will be used. First are flashes to force you as the AWPer off an angle, and here to counter this, if it's a bad flash you will have time to unscope, look away. But if it's not a bad flash but a good one, you should think about repositioning fast and not staying too long after you get blinded. The other piece of utilities are smokes, to smoke you off completely. And here's the AWPer, spamming is not an option. There are some good options. One is to play on the edge of the smoke so you can go for the first kill and run back, and the other are boosting over it like you can do over default jungle smoke from jungle. Or just falling back to an unsmoked spot, and now in CS2, using a nade to even break the smoke can work as well. Even better if a teammate can nade for you. When fighting an AWPer, many cares about speed and just rushing an AWP down, and this is only good if the AWPer has bad movement and positioning, as I demonstrated in my entryfragger guide. With the plays I did, one of the plays was literally made to have speed on the AWPer who misses his shot. Since then it's easy to catch him in the open and it's a free kill. But let's hop into CS2 and I can show you how to counter this. So a lot of AWPers will hold like this. They will see one running. Oh, I didn't have the time to react. Oh, we shoot a second guy and run. And you die here because the first guy just kills you. Or you know, you miss the first guy. You stay. And you die. Alright, so let me show you guys how this works. A lot of AWPers, they will hold these like pixeling. You can see Monsi and like Prime Kenneth will hold this.
And that is not just like information. Shoot, you run away. You get time, you get here, shoot, you can run away. Shoot, you can run away. And shoot, you can run away. Right? So you want to be able to be that fast when it comes to AWPing, and that's how to like counter the rushes. Right? It's all about how you move and how you position yourself.
Another one is that the enemy brings out AWP, and here, if you're on CT side, well, remember what we talked about earlier. Your positioning, angles and rotations are key for you to actually win over the enemy AWP. While if you're on the T side, you should rather focus on fighting the AWP late game and not early game, as well as mastering pre-aim and peeking to constantly win the 1v1 against them. I love my pro breakdowns, it's literally what my channel is about. So let's just look over some AWPers to see how the best in the world plays with AWP. Let's start with Saivu and how he AWPs and what we can learn from him. As you know, Saivu ended the year by winning 2 events and being named the best player of 2023, and being named the best player of 2023. So there is much to learn. So let's hop over to the demo and see. Saivu is more of a passive AWPer, and in this round he has opted to rather play a very safe spot as a sole A defender, where he will rather start the round by using his utility to help out in middle with this over top con flash for middle. And this is timed perfect, so when he flashes, he can start to hold ramp after, since the Molotov by now will stop burning and he needs to be aware of a ramp push. And even though he loses 2 teammates towards middle, he still stays here as long as con is smoked, since his spot here with the AWP is very strong. But we can't tell how passive he is in this round, staying still and rather helping out with support utility for his teammates. Round 7 shows us how you should play when you have to be everywhere on the map. Saivu starts in window, but it's quickly smoked off, and here he has full utility and can do something about the smoke. But since he is alone in middle, there are no need for him to even try anything. So now, as the AWPer, your spot has been blocked off by a smoke. Some AWPers would stay behind it to try to get lucky, but Saivu understands he needs to move to have impact. And here he is quick to rotate over to B, since Vitality are 3 players on A already. And here Saivu takes apps in this off angle that will net him 1 free kill and easy to fall back from. As well as he hold close to the wall, since the Ts will usually walk around the corner and not wide swing it. And I love in the end how much utility Saivu uses to keep himself alive and hold off the rush, as well as peeking behind it, always finding ways to have impact. Device is the dedicated AWPer of Astralis and most accomplished AWPer in CSGO with 4 majors won. So how does he play overpass? Device is very similar to Saivu, that he as well is quite an passive AWPer, and we are seeing that already in round 4. Where he will start off in not the best spawn to do an early mid fight, and here rather uses this Molotov to block any Ts from pushing middle, and then together with 2 teammates takes mid control, where he only needs to focus playground. And then he decides to spot here where Ts like to jump peak, but here with 2 players around him, how is it possible that the Device dies here to a peak? So as the passive AWPer, we are seeing a glimpse of brilliance in his utility, while his positions is quite off in this round. Device has a great spawn to be able to run down to B site, and here he drops a nade and then fails the jump. His goal was to get closer to Monster, but now that he misses the jump, he goes for a more passive position to hold off any pushes. And he just sits and waits. It's not an eventful round yet, but here is what I love, how passive he is when he takes Monster from this corner. Most AWPers after the flash would have flashback, asked for a flash and peeked, but here Device rather stays put and bites his time, something quite unexpected for most AWPers, and is rewarded with a kill. So this passive playstyle can have impact if you can use it correctly, like Device and Saivu. Monsi is the next superstar of his generation, and in G2 as an AWPer, he made a name for himself. Monsi is more on the aggressive type of AWPers, like Simple of CSGO, where they will collect a lot of highlight, but as well a lot of deaths. Monsi starts by finding this nice gap in the bottom stairs smoke, before him and 2 teammates pushes through the smoke. And here we see how him and G2 uses Monsi as an entry almost, where Monsi will hold off some spots to try to get a kill, in this case the left side of site, so the G2 entry can just run up and try to get a kill, only focusing on the right side. And this round perfectly shows you how it is to be an aggressive AWPer. Your team relies more on you, so when Monsi can't get anything here, he says F it and peeks under the railing and finds a kill, something a passive AWPer would never have done, since G2 will not even go B at all. Monsi has the best spawn possible and uses this to go here before any CTs can spot him to hold off short. And this round shows you the aggression yet again. G2 are in a 4v5, so how can Monsi have impact? while he starts by flashing for his teammates before he goes solo short, so G2 can have 3 riflers going ramp to take site, and this shows you again how dependent G2 are on m0NESY to have impact on these aggressive plays. Here m0NESY walks out on short, finds 1 kill, and then keeps on moving towards site, something few AWPers would have done after they find the equalizer kill, and he finds 1 more kill with a nice flick yet again to equalize, and G2 wins the round. Shiro is the next simple. After achieving a lot with Gambit and later Cloud9, he decided to go back and join Spirit with up-and-comer Dunk. So how does Shiro AWP? Shiro starts the round in middle using this Molotov, but since he's smoked off, there are no need for him to stay middle. So here walks out of the smoke even though his teammate is not really holding bottom middle, and here quickly turns for the flash that the T-side throws for middle. And after his aggression has paid off by getting bottom mid control, Shiro understands he can walk back, and here opts to rather play Donut and hold Fortnite, finding 1 kill and then walking back to middle. Shiro and m0NESY are very similar here, where all they want is to be everywhere and not one spot. Look how different this is than what we see Cyber and Device do. Last guide I had some plays you can do, and many like this, so I will be bringing it back for this one.
So, this play is all about how to take top banana. And as the AWPer, you don't want to sit here and just wait for a guy peeking you and then killing him. Kinda lame. You want to do what Cyber did. And he goes up here on the barrels. I'm not a big fan of that, so I want to show you my way of how I do this. So if you have the best spawn, right? You want to run up, get a Molotov ready, Molotov here. This is ensures nobody will peek here. And then when you get here, you need to peek perfectly into this guy right here. He's a bit off, but you always aim at this here. You can always flick out, that's fine. When you've done this, you need to get ready for this peek, dead. And then this guy right here, and you of course attack him. But because we're doing this fast, you have to worry, right? So if you've killed 1 guy here and 1 guy here, your mind should go that there are nobody more here. So you need to focus on rotation. And as the AWPer, you gotten 2 kills, you need to now swing and kill rotation. After that, you should have sight and everything. So as an AWPer, you need to know how to peek angles like this one right there. And it's all about being predictable. So I want to just kind of show you all the many ways you can actually peek middle on Mirage. So the first one is just coming here, peeking, shooting, dead. But if you keep doing this, then we get ready for this, right? So let's say the enemy, I'm going to show you this smoke as well, just so you can actually learn it. This is how you smoke window, guys. Go into this corner, aim around here, D, and then draw. Did I hit it? Hit it. So let's say the enemy do this, alright? There's this play that's gotten very popular. You want to go into here, aim around like the tile. It don't really matter where. Here, one left click, and jump throw. And then you can peek perfectly here. That's the first way you can deal with this smoke. There are other ways, like if you're getting smoked or afraid you're getting smoked, you can just jump off, get up here, shoot, and fall into the smoke that will throw here. As well as if you have a very good spawn. There are some other ways you can do this. The other ways you can deal with this. One is by jumping, getting up here, and then quickly jump to this. I have to do it in one go. And I have to be fast, because you need to be faster than the enemy. So that is way too slow. You kind of want it to be looking like this, roughly, if you have the best spawn. The other way is to do this jump, right here. And then of course aim top middle and go for this.
Time to practice the AWP, and over this whole video I have built up for this, since most would go and play aimbot for 200 kills and then DM in AWP only servers. While this is not an optimal way to practice the AWP. First start by playing some bots, but you want to warm up your pistol shot, AWP shot and riflers. Use the time in aimbots to practice strafing, flick and more skills you should improve on. Since as the AWPer, and what we saw in the economy guide, you can't only play with the AWP, so you need to get familiar with the other classes. Then go in a deathmatch, here do the same. Deathmatch with M4, AK and AWP, as well as pistols, deagles and the scout, since you need to know how to use all of these guns. And after you are done with DMing, do a KC and surf map. I myself loves KC, some might say surf, so I'm just covering all my bases here. And a good way to know when you're good enough when it comes to movement is that you're able to do what you want to do. Like if you have a good spawn for the window jump on Mirage, you should be able to hit that when you want to. So no need to be on the ROPS level of movement, just comfortable enough to move and do the plays you want to do. This was my AWP guide, and in the future I will be making these 3 guides for now. So if you want to see other guides from pro player, positions, maps and more, tell me in the comments, as well as this channel do a lot of pro breakdowns, and if you love that, hit the subscribe.